Previously on 94 Chill, the podcast.
He's 9 years old. His name is Thomas. He's a little genius. He believes in Father Christmas. His two favorite pastimes? Computers and superheroes. December 24th, midnight. Hidden under the dining room table, Thomas waits for Father Christmas. But what he does not know is that he is about to experience the most frightening night in his entire life. He finally met his match. Wanted, Mr. Xmas.
All right, well, new year, and so far same guest, but nothing wrong with that. This is 90 for Chill, the podcast, and this week, Gregory Carl has graced us once again with his presence. And actually, I think I saw today it was your little one's first birthday, correct?
Yep, it's her birthday today. Party's Sunday. Her birthday's today.
All right, yeah. Little kids, you do it on the weekend, so and not like at one, you're really going to be that amped about the first.
No, it's mostly for us surviving.
Right. So, but bringing up children, do you think she's going to have that genius level IQ as little Thomas in Deadly Games from 1989?
God, I hope so. That kid is awesome.
Well, I'm going to go. Well, when you were describing the movie, because there's another movie from 82 called Deadly Games as well. I presumed this was going to be it. And you brought it up in December, and it's like, oh, we've already done all the Christmas stuff. But you brought up the mullet, and I'm thinking extensions on that kid. I'm just... It was just too long, man.
Yeah, it was a little too perfect.
Right. Well,
I mean, it came from a rich family, though. I mean, that he could have afforded. I don't know.
Well, he seemed kind of a shut-in a little bit. I mean, yeah, he had his fat little friend, Palou, I believe was his name, which I don't know. Would you trade the dog for Palou?
Oh, I don't know. That dog was pretty dope. He put up with a lot. He was literally hunting him at the beginning of the movie.
Right. Oh, no, the dog was very awesome. I mean, this is I think my something I noticed about this movie was a lot of tonal shifts, like in a sense that it just wanted to just shock you, and it's really not that violent a movie, all things considered. I mean, is it a horror movie? Definitely. And I've been watching a lot of home invasion stuff recently. Recently watched Your Next, and I'm supposed to record again this week with Michael Dubois about Ready or Not. So,
oh, that was a good one. I watched that with my girlfriend a few months ago. Yeah,
no, it's a good one, but as I say, a lot of tonal shifts. I was expecting more tongue in cheek, and this one kind of really doesn't know what kind of tone it takes until about I mean, you could say, well, the second act, but it's a pretty long first act. I mean, you're going 30 minutes and it's a 90-minute movie. So yeah, the tonal shifts, and sorry for the spoiler about the Chien named JR. But yeah, it's it almost, I don't know, like other Christmas I don't want to say horror movies per se, but it's kind of got a Gremlins type feel. Like everything's kind of soft, and then you're like, welcome. Like, there's no way this is stuff. I mean, as I say, it's a relatively bloodless movie. But yeah, there's no way you want your kids to see that. And I think that's pretty much the reason why The director, let me get his name. I had that in my notes. No, don't need all the tweets I'm trying to make cool. All right. Director Rene Manzar was really upset about Home Alone coming out a year later, and basically said that Chris Columbus and John Hughes plagiarized Deadly Games, or otherwise known as Hide and Freak was another one. Game Over, Dial Code Santa Claus, I believe would be the official name, and definitely the French name, 3615 Code Pere Noel. I didn't take French in high school. I was Spanish, and college was devoted to Mandarin. So, pardon.
The Santa Claus one makes me laugh, though. I love alternate movie titles. Alternate movie titles always kind of make me laugh. There's always those odd ones.
Yeah. There's I don't know. I guess I haven't delved too deep. I mean, there's definitely. I mean, probably the most significant would be the Hatchet Murders, which was the original title of the cut down version of Dario Argento's, I believe it's Profunda Rosa, or Deep Red. So, yeah.
I don't know that one. I think I heard Bloodsport was called like Black Tiger or something like that in Germany. I might be wrong about that.
No, that one's it's definitely got a different name in Germany, and I can at least acknowledge that. Like my favorite German name change is actually the WWE annual pay-per-view, the Elimination Chamber. Yeah, they just call that, and I think that WWE should never call the pay-per-view the Elimination Chamber, because that's just the match. But it was originally No Way Out, which was what, of course, the Elimination Chamber kind of means. 6 men, 10 tons of steel, elimination match. But in Germany, they stuck with No Way Out because, they don't really want to talk about elimination chambers, from, say, 1937 to 1945.
Yeah, I kind of prefer No Way Out anyway. I mean, Elimination Chamber sounds very American Gladiators.
Oh, yeah. No, WWE is just basically, I think they're going to be sold by the end of 2022.
I hope so. I haven't really been keeping up on anything like that.
Well, I'm sure you've heard all the release stories, though. I mean, they're...
Yeah.
they've
released everyone that I like, so I don't really care anymore. Now I'm just kind of silently watching AEW, waiting for people that I like to pop up.
Right. Yep. The big one right now is Johnny Gargano, because their AEW will be in Cleveland in 2 weeks. Then that's the same week of the Royal Rumble, so he'll show up somewhere.
Yeah, I always kind of liked back in the day when they would try to like give him a push. They would make him a face, but he would win a championship, then he would just turn around and just lose it again.
Right.
I liked that era of Johnny Gargano because I thought it was kind of funny. But
yeah,
I mean, I like Keith Lee. I'm waiting for Keith Lee to pop up somewhere.
Right. Well, and then of course you got the drama right now after the Big Swole release, which, okay, I'm an AEW shill. I'm not going to question that. I'm not going to deny that. And everybody's saying Tony Khan saying Big Swole couldn't wrestle, and it's like, well, she was quite the wrestling talent when she was available, but she has Crohn's disease, and like, you can't invest in a story with her just because you don't know when she's going to be available. She's great for the indies. I hope Dave Prazak pays her a lot of money for every Shimmer event she does. Hell, I'd put the Shimmer Championship on her. I was at Shimmer #1, so I mean, and I trained with Danny Daniels, so I had to actually work on a lot of those shows just backstage. So, but Yeah, so but that's gonna be interesting with the Keith Lee stuff. But if you can control Leo Rush's mouth, I think you're doing all right. So it's but yeah, yeah, AEW, that's definitely my thing. I still gotta watch last night's show. A lot of drama in my life after losing my banking job, but everything's
Yeah.
everything should work out. I'm pretty it's just more like everything looks like it'll work out, and it's like, yeah, but come on, the other shoe sometime. But I will say Best Buy is treating me well, and I have not spoken bad of them yet. And we'll have to shut up there because I didn't even mention the bank I worked at, and I got fired for it. Talking about it online. So yeah, that's yeah, so yep, so but yeah, obviously this is about Dudley Games, which, as I say, is quite an experience of a feature, and I think if anything, it really, we should have seen this a lot earlier. I think it was only available on bootleg until Shudder came around. I mean, I think they debuted it in 2014 in Austin, but yeah, otherwise it was bootleg VHSs.
Yeah, that's partly what I heard too. I heard about this movie in a podcast and what you talked about Home Alone and whatnot. I'm like, oh, that sounds interesting. I have Shudder. Let's check this movie out. Hey, Dante, you want to watch a movie about a rad kid?
Oh no, I don't. Like, if you got a smart enough kid, this is I don't think there's any problems with showing your kid it. As I say, it's kind of, for me, has a lot of Gremlins vibes when it comes to the Christmas holiday, which I think's part of its charm. And there's a lot of elements of it. If you're familiar with the directing duo Jeunet and Caro, I don't know. Again, my French is shite.
I'm not. I haven't seen a whole lot of French movies.
They're a directing team. They were a directing team up until I think 1996, 97, when I think it's Jean-Pierre Jeunet. I got my computer ready, so I will correct myself accordingly. But Jean-Pierre Jeunet was invited to direct Alien Resurrection. And he did direct the feature. And if you watch the DVD or the special edition Blu-ray, I mean, there's so many things I own on digital because I wanted it in HD. Alien Resurrection.
Resurrection's the one with the dogs, right?
I'm sorry?
Resurrection's the one with the dogs, right?
No, Resurrection's the one with the Ripley clone.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't remember that one so much. I just watched all those Alien movies a few months ago, actually.
Yeah,
I don't
so
remember Resurrection. Maybe I missed that.
All right, so Alien is Alien. Aliens is Aliens, obviously. Alien 3 is when the alien comes out of a dog.
Yeah.
Which actually, if you watch the, I think what they call the reconstructed cut, because David Fincher, the director, obviously went on to do Fight Club, Seven, the Girl with the Dragon Tattoo remake, which is fine on its own. I mean, I'm probably going to always prefer the Swedish version, but I digress. I mean, it's a nice different take on it. And I think probably Zodiac is what everybody says is Fincher's best. I've never seen it. But I've tried to avoid Jake Gyllenhaal. So,
yeah.
So, I mean, honestly, he's probably an all right actor, but all right. So,
I can't think of a good movie he's been in.
Well, I'm not saying he was bad in Donnie Darko. Okja was nice. The Korean movie by
he was in that, wasn't he? I haven't seen that for a while. That was a good flick.
Okay, just finally found out. Yeah, Jean-Pierre Jeunet directed Alien Resurrection. Now, but the movies he did beforehand, and I really only know two of them. So, I think there were only two of them. He directed with a partner. Again, I know his last name is Caro. Were City of Lost Children and Delicatessen. Now, these are just beautiful looking movies, and they're really twisted. Especially, I definitely recommend City of Lost Children. That's actually kind of how I knew. His collaborator was Mark Caro, but City of Lost Children, definitely one I would watch. It's French, obviously, but Ron Perlman is actually in it. So, but that one's about a real cruel world where a mad scientist is incapable of dreaming, hence he can't sleep. So he's trying to steal the dreams of little children. And it just doesn't seem to work out because kids are kids and they're scared of stuff. And like that just amplifies his fears. A lot of weird stuff in it. It's such an impactful film. My best friend, she named her daughter after the main character, which is a 11-year-old girl, I'm going to say, whose name is Miette. So it's a real impactful movie, and it's like when I'm watching Alien Resurrection, it's like, no, I saw Alien Resurrection first, and then one night we're all drunk. She's trying to we invited some of her college friends, and a real weird night. I'm just gonna say that. And never just skip drinking UV blue vodka, period. Never works out.
Oh, yeah, awful. No, terrible.
So but I'm watching City of Lost Children, and I'm like, damn, this looks very familiar to Alien Resurrection. So so just a lot of brilliant direction. Alien Resurrection is brilliantly directed, and if you get the special edition DVD, Jeannot says beforehand, okay, what you're going to watch is a extended cut, because the film I released to theaters he's not that French, but was what I thought was the best cut. So but yeah, all the Alien movies definitely deserve a rewatch. Sorry that they can't qualify for 90 for chill. I'm working on figuring loopholes out. I recently posted on my Twitter and my Facebook, hey, the Last Starfighter, it can qualify because you don't doesn't like
I love that movie.
Yes. Oh, I loved it too. And then the most recent time I watched it, I never realized how heavy the computer generated graphics were. And I'd still say PlayStation 2 level by that point. And that's 1984. So, and it's weird. I was recently at Disney World, and I'm waiting on this ride called Soaring, which is a simulator, but it's like you're flying throughout the world, but no, as close as you can to actually not feeling like you're in a plane. But like the music in the waiting room, which is ironic because it's a Universal movie, is the soundtrack to The Last Starfighter. So,
oh, shit.
Yeah, it's interesting. The ride could have been better if we would have let Patrick Warburton, he's the host, be a little more Patrick Warburton. But so yeah, bringing up my Caro and Janae concept with this. Oh, like there are a lot of brilliant shots in Deadly Games, especially of the house, the model work they did. That can't be a real house.
What a crazy house that is.
Well, let's not even get into the interiors where the point where.
Oh my God. No, you're right. That can't be real.
Yeah.
But you were talking about the early, like, computer generated stuff earlier. Mm-hmm. Well, this movie does have a little bit of one of my favorite things. as like the early glimpses of technology.
Oh well, I'm watching him set up the cameras right now.
Yeah, the early internet, how he talks to, hey, you're Santa.
Yes, and I think we'll eventually got to transition to that again with while I say like this is a movie we should have got like in 1990. Like I mean I think 20th Century Fox probably would have been wise to spend a lot of money to keep this out of the country for Home Alone, because this is very much the reality of a situation compared to the slapstick nature of Home Alone. But yeah, the technology, the traps and everything. I mean, this kid is dangerous. Like, which I think I'm kind of disappointed that he wasn't a little more confident. Like, when you create your own home security, you can, I guess it's I would just, I don't know. I'm kind of disappointed. The kid could have been a little tougher, I think. I mean, I don't.
He practically dove on a live grenade. He needs to be tougher. He was 8. This is a badass 8-year-old.
He was 10 because that was a line that was a line in the movie, because which is kind of pivotal. It's a pivotal line because the mother is talking to her accountant who she's shagging.
Full-blown mechanic.
Oh no, okay, look, hey. I got a kid at Best Buy who's talking about driving to South Carolina for a boxing match, and I was telling him of the good old days, the days probably before he was born, when I was doing Tough Man contest. Like, if you remember that on FX, the just 3 1-minute mounds, guys just throwing hay. I told him, like, and he's like, what combo am I going to use? Dude, you're going to, if you go into the first round, you're going to get concussed. Are you ready to accept that? So it's just trying to talk a lot of people don't know how they're tough they, and honestly, like, it's kind of like he kind of gets toughened up after he buries the dog and everything. Sorry, the dog dies, which I say is great cinema. I've done a podcast about that. Like,
oh yeah, that takes some balls. Like, even Michael Myers didn't kill the dog on camera.
Right. Yeah. Oh no, that's direct. I mean, that's not even John Wick. You see shut that dog up, and you hear a punch and you hear a. I mean, the cruel thing about the dog in John Wick is that it crawled little Daisy crawled to John Wick to die.
It is just one of those things that we just don't stand for in the West. Like, we will not stand for any dog being killed for any reason. Like,
right.
We don't want
no, and that's the sole reason it's probably it would have probably gotten an R rating in the States. Like the kid doesn't, like, our protagonist, the grandpa doesn't get it, and it's like, if you can't kill an old man, who can you kill?
I know, right? Like, and that raises another question: like, how irresponsible is his mother just leaving? Like, hey, just stay in this big crazy house with your bedridden grandpa. He can baby you.
His grandfather wasn't bedridden, but I mean, we're talking full blown diabetes, insulin stuff. And his vision was total shit.
He was damn near blind. I forgot about that.
Yeah, but going back to the age and the toughness element, the mother says to her accountant, whom she's shagging and is trying to hide from her son, which isn't really well addressed. Like, I know the son is a little scared of his ancestry with his father and grandfather being toy makers and such.
I forgot about that whole thing. It's actually been a little bit since I watched it.
Oh yeah, no, you brought it up. I mean, as I say, you brought it up pretty much.
I did bring it up.
Well, close to after Christmas or so. That's
Yeah,
like,
I was drinking heavily. I was on vacation. I just got done watching with Dante, and
yeah.
yeah, the only person I could think of that would possibly appreciate this movie.
Oh yeah, no, I mean, and it's I don't know. As I say, it's one of those movies. Like this is, I really, I'm not saying it's like, okay, I get on Letterbox. I'm on Letterbox. The username is CM Darth. If you're gonna look for me, CMDARTH. I am drinking out of my Oga's Cantina from Galaxy Edge's mug, celebrating the victory on Endor. Uh, yeah. Well, no, it's actually like a real, if you're at Disney World or if you just want to search for it, a real awesome beverage. It takes a hell of a lot of time to make because it involves puree and black salt. Is the Yum Nub.
Really?
Yeah, it's just like I couldn't tell you. Like I really there was a YouTube video that popped up on like my feed. It's like they didn't really know I went to Disney World, but how to make all the beverages on Galaxy's Edge. Okay. Um but that was an expensive night of drinking. So I tipped about $20 because it's Florida, and bought three or four drinks, and yeah, ended up being $100 tab because I bought this special mug. So I didn't know I was going to be able to make a lightsaber, so I did. Pretty awesome one at that. Hoping my dad is constantly joking because I had it shipped back to my home in my parents' house about my nephew grabbing it. It's like, no, I think because his mom got Omicron, so I think he's kind of away from my stuff. But I might have to bring one of my Ultra Sabers just to match him. But I think
you vacation, you deserve it.
yeah, but oh shoot, that's on a long rant about Disney World. But no, I guess as I say, this is one of those and I was saying Letterboxd, and I think I ranked this 3.5 stars. I really don't like when people do 5 stars. Like, what I really hate is video game commercials and they show all the ratings. It's a 9.85 out of 10. Dude, round up, man. I mean, I know video games is a nerd culture thing. It's always going to be a nerd culture thing. But like, don't let them review it if they're going to be that specific. So yeah, this is but regardless that it's not a perfect movie, I didn't give it 4 stars. I would have still given it 3. I gave it a 3.5. Like, this is a movie I think if you're just a fan of Christmas movies and horror movies, is definitely worth a watch. I mean, this is up there with, as I was saying, Gremlins, and it's definitely got the same kind of tonal. I think it's a little sloppier when it comes to the tonal changes. But, I mean, it's just very twisted, and I think important for Americans to see. It would have been great if we saw it in 1990. Let's just say 1993, because our antagonist, I don't really think he's that evil a character. He's just, I mean, he's essentially Michael Jackson. He just wants to be a child, live a child's life. Like, and it's established in the first scene of the film where, oh, all the kids in Petty are having a snowball fight, and he wants to take part. And yes, he kind of was creepy on the early internet. I did research that on Wikipedia. Minitel was a big thing in France all the way up till about 2012. The communication device. It's like, I don't know, almost puts us Yanks to shame, especially since I live in Champaign, where we had the scientists who came up with the internet. So,
I don't know, man. I felt like you wanted to smack that kid that entire movie.
Okay, that's
like I watched a French documentary on comic books, has kind of soured me on French people because they're into some smacking weird shit over there.
You know,
This,
I'm an anime fan, and Lord knows I've looked for the pornos with the actress who played Shay on Game of Thrones. So it's like, I don't think they have anything on the.
have.
I'm sorry.
We all have. We've
Right,
all
but
been there. We've all looked it up as soon as we found out.
Yeah,
we all
but
looked it up.
right, no, and I get that. I had to stick up my ass. I took a while for me to go into the fappening and find that Apple hack.
Yeah, that's a whole separate podcast. Let's change stuff.
Yeah. Well, I'm just saying, our antagonist may have wanted to shag the kid, but then again, like, we find out close to the end, which I think may have pushed it a little into the frame of feeling long, that no, this guy really thinks it's just a game between him and Thomas and himself. Like, okay, your turn, count to 20. Like, what? You could have totally killed the kid. And that's why I'm bringing up Michael Jackson. It's like, okay, if somebody's not acting like doesn't want to act like an adult, and granted, all right, I'm single, I'm 42, I'll be 42 in a couple months. And yeah, I still collect a lot of stuff, and it's pretty much like, well, if I had children, I wouldn't have this freedom. I don't want to grow up. Peter Pan is my favorite, one of my favorite Disney movies. So I'll totally acknowledge that. Yeah, I'm kind of immature, but yeah, I don't want. I mean, I'm an adult who enjoys childish things. I don't enjoy the concept of being a child, and I think that's what our villain in this feature is. He wants to be a child, so he wants to play hide and seek. He wants to participate in snowball fights, and he's actually, in a sense, kind of sympathetic. He's actually in a world that basically says, no, you can't do that. So let's see. And yeah, he's not relatable by any sense. Like, I'm just seeing him put the snow on right now. He's to color.
I get it, but he showed up with a knife at the very least.
Well, no, he gets like, I totally on his side when he slapped the kid and lost his job as a Santa Claus. Like, no, you don't break kayfabe without consequence. Wrestling talk there. You live the gimmick until you don't, and then you slap the little bastard who rips off your beard. I mean, when you bring up the knife, I think he strangled the guy in the van. I don't know how he killed the caretaker, because you just see their bodies briefly, and then coming out this, he was fighting off the dog with a more of a spatula. Against that was probably hooked up to some fruitcake, or at least I think they call them butter braids. So, I mean, maybe if the dog didn't attack him, he could have been a little cooler. But once you start spilling blood, there's no cap, I guess, if you're not mentally stable. Yeah, it's let me go take a look, see at my notes. And
I had a hard time wondering how he got his grandfather into the suit of armor. That was
okay.
Over.
All right, that is one of those you just have to ignore. Ignore how time works. especially in a movie where this is like, if the best way to describe this movie is it's Home Alone with actual stakes. I'm sorry, Harry and Marv were just too incompetent to really cause you any threat. I'm kind of knocking up a lot of this stuff, notes I had. Actually, I'm just seeing one which I know we're not going to address. When the film opens, I shouldn't say open, when we're introduced to Thomas, like I know he goes through the entire Rambo routine, but it's set to like a Christmas knockoff of Eye of the Tiger. Like, same kind of beats, same kind of guitar riff, and then it's a Christmas song on top of that. So it's just very, like, that's the kind of weird stuff you can, I think, really appreciate. And gosh, now I'm watching the dog get killed. That is pretty graphic.
Catch that.
With all the violence against children, though, I think it's something the writer Roald Dahl would appreciate. He was the author of such classics as The Witches, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. He wrote the screenplay to one of my favorite James Bond movies, which is probably one of the more racist ones, You Only Live Twice, which is where James Bond goes to Japan, learns how to be a ninja.
Really? I didn't know that.
Oh, as I say, it's not like I've recently found out, like, it's a really weird situation with the James Bond movies at that point. So this is the You Only Live Twice, I believe it's the 5th movie. And I guess they didn't start at the beginning, because the beginning is Casino Royale. They started at Dr. No, but they kept going with the next book and the next book and the next book. And then they got to You Only Live Twice. And I think they just said, well, we're going to use the title and we're going to fake James Bond's death. But then, nope, this is Hollywood, baby. And it's a movie where James Bond goes to Japan. And this is where it's the first movie they introduce us to Blofeld. And this is the most iconic Blofeld. This is the one portrayed by Donald Pleasance of Halloween fame. And it's the one with the scar on the eye, just like Dr. Evil.
I've never heard the name Blofeld in my life.
You've never seen have you seen the recent James Bond movies, the Daniel Craig's?
Not really. No, I haven't. I was never really like a big Bond guy. I think I watched Casino Royale, and that one was pretty good.
Okay, I would say watch all the Craig movies. There are some weak ones in there. I think Quantum of Solace is okay. Skyfall is awesome, especially with Javier Bardem as the villain. And then there's the 4th one, Dave Bautista's in it as a henchman. And Christoph Waltz is the recreation of Blofeld, which was the leader of Spectre from the Sean Connery movies. So it's he doesn't get enough to do in that one, but the last movie, No Time to Die, like, you can watch the Daniel Craig movies and not even have to watch the old movies. It's a crime if you do, but you don't have to.
Like, I've seen Bond in passing, and that's about it.
Oh, it was my mom's favorite thing. I don't know if it was her favorite thing until Timothy Dalton became Bond. That was like the first time my mom dragged me to a movie, like, because my dad just doesn't dig violent movies. So my mom, like, Timothy Dalton, he's probably, have you seen Flash Gordon?
Oh yeah, I've seen Flash Gordon.
Okay, Timothy Dalton is Prince Baron of the Forest Planet, or the Forest.
Okay.
Yeah. So he became the 4th James Bond, 1987, and
yeah, he was the one with all the gadgets and stuff, right?
I'm sorry.
You have like all like the weird like he was really gadgety.
The James Bond or the
Timothy Dalton as James Bond.
I wouldn't say too gadgety because his second movie, like he only got 2 movies, which was Criminal. They really wanted to get Pierce Brosnan, so the first chance, like they couldn't get him when he was on Remington Steele, and then when they finally could get him, it's like, bye Timothy Dalton.
I always thought Timothy Dalton was referred to as like the goofy Bond.
That's Roger Moore.
Okay.
Yeah. So if you're looking for a Jean-Claude Van Damme connection, that would be the movie The Quest. I think
I was just trying to think of everything I knew about James Bond, which didn't much.
No, it's actually quite enlightening on my behalf that I don't know, a lot of people didn't. I think a lot of people my age and younger probably don't know much about James Bond besides GoldenEye and whatever came after that. And
I don't have anything against it. It never grabbed me.
Oh no,
Get Smart kind of grabbed me though.
I'm sorry?
Get Smart kind of grabbed me.
Okay.
But I like goofy kind of weird stuff. But I mean, I like Bond. I just never. I don't know. I think about watching a Bond movie, and then I see how long it is, and
right. No, they don't fit for 90 for chill. I know that much.
No,
believe
they
me.
Don't.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's cocky. I don't know how I really got on James Bond from here. I guess in a sense, I mean, this is kind of trying to work my way backwards, but I digress. So we got, actually, if I probably check my notes, I'll see what I was trying to get to. No. Oh, I was talking about Roald Dahl. As I say, author best known for James the Giant Peach, BFG, The Witches, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. He actually hated children. So it's kind of ironic.
Charlie and the Chocolate Factory? I forgot about that.
Oh, yeah. No, that was the author of those books. And as I say, he actually hated children.
Yeah, my girlfriend was into Roald Dahl for a while. She was reading the BFG to her kids.
Oh, no.
I like The Witches growing up. I never actually read any of his books, though.
I can't say I've read a lot myself. He's I mean, I've read Charlie. I've read I think I did read BFG, and actually, he was actually one of those. I think he was friends with Ian Fleming, the author of James Bond. So he had a lot of life experience. I think similar spy type background. But as I say, really,
Roald Dahl.
Yeah, I think there's a drunk history.
Look into this dude, man. Roald Dahl sounds awesome.
Well, there was a drunk history. If you ever watch that show on Comedy Central, where
I've seen it.
Yeah, I think they do address Roald Dahl at one point. I don't know if it was Will Ferrell playing him or not, but yeah, it's he's an interesting character, but
I'm definitely looking into this dude.
I'll just say every Brit who was writing stuff in the around after post World War II, pretty racist in the end, but
that's something I found out about a lot of my favorite authors is I've learned not to look into anybody that I like writing wise, because to be terrible people.
Right. I mean, big one would be H.P. Lovecraft, of course.
Oh yeah, and what a shitbag that guy was.
I do appreciate the irony that Lovecraft Country is about the Black experience. So Roald Dahl, that's a nice little tangent. So I did the Eye of the Tiger. So I probably covered all my notes. This Deadly Games.
What about that big ass room that they were hiding in? Him and his grandpa.
Yeah, as I
They
said,
had
that
all
was
that like water flooded and stuff into it. I feel like they were just like hiding in sewage.
um. Well, I think that's where the kid actually sleeps most of the time. I think that was kind of like when he wakes up in the beginning of the movie, and you see him in his gutted World War II plane with the dog sitting in the navigator seat. No, I think
God
it
damn
was.
it, that kid has the life.
Yeah, I mean, it's honestly when it comes to the traps, I can't really say like he was overly cruel. Even like the worst thing that could have happened is if the grenade would have gone off. I mean that would have been the most realistic grenade actually in all of movies since the Boys of Company C, and that movie ends with a guy diving on a grenade, and you just see his body. You don't see you don't see it go bloody mess or big explosion. Just that's how a grenade actually works.
I really kind of felt bad for this kid at the end of this movie. Like
Oh well,
the space and everything. Oh my god.
well, he blames himself for the entire situation because, well, if I didn't try staying up to see Santa Claus, maybe. So I guess that's where we actually have to go and lay out the plot. This is a movie about a child whose mother really wants him, who's a genius, but his mother really wants him to continue believing in a Santa Claus, at least till he turns 11, because that's when she quit. She found out that, it's over. And he's pretty much living, I imagine it's probably Christmas break, since Palou, his friend who doesn't believe in Santa Claus anymore, was able to, try to come to the rescue. And but it's so the kid lives with his grandfather and his mom, who runs a big toy store in Paris, and he's basically rigged out the house to be his own personal playground. So he's got mazes, he's got trap doors. Well, so
I got excited about those trap doors.
Yeah,
he has real trap doors.
Right. Oh no, this is definitely. Honestly, I think if you can afford to build a house from scratch, you got to install some trapdoors. Maybe not the maze which is kind of playing right now on the screen, that he didn't even know how to figure out. Like, that was a weird scene.
Yeah, it was that big goofy house is the overkill for sure. But god damn it, is it fun?
Right. But so the kid, in the meantime, the kid really wants to believe. He wants to prove Santa exists, I guess, is the problem. And, despite his best friend telling him no, the Minitel, where he's communicating with Santa, that can't be the real Santa. He's still set on it, and he's going to stay up late to find out. In the meantime, you have our murderous Pere Noel, as I think the French would say it, Pere Noel, probably. Again, not my language. And never mind the fact I'm an Anglophile, so picking on the French is kind of our thing. This guy who's becomes the murderous Santa seems to be someone who just wants to be a child, and hoping to connect with other children. He becomes a mall Santa for about 4 hours before his beard is pulled off and he smacks a kid, which I'm all for. But being fired and knowing about about Thomas being the heir to this big toy store chain, he decides to stalk him, hides away in the van where all his gifts are going to be delivered, and goes on his murder spree when he arrives. And again, not a very sympathetic character because he kills a dog. And not a very sympathetic director because, again, that was a pretty vivid dog murder. I mean, we're only talking 2 blows, but again, you never see too much detail when John Wayne's dog dies in every one of his Westerns. And as I say, the only sad thing about Daisy from John Wick is that it crawled to John Wick. So that's the plot of the movie. Basically, Thomas is trying to protect his grandfather, who's a diabetic, insulin dependent diabetic on top of that. And from this murderous Santa. And then it gets into spoiler territory when you find out that, again, this Santa really just wants to be a child. Maybe he wants to bugger him. That's what Gregory said.
Yeah, he really wants to bang that kid.
Okay. So, yeah, that's the plot of the movie. And I think, again, a lot of weird tonal shifts. Like, it takes a half hour before we really get into the action. And then it's a half hour of the kid playing scared. And then it's like, okay, when's this kid gonna snap out of it and go after this guy? Which I guess is a Gremlins 2 type thing. Gizmo eventually snaps in every Gremlins movie to take on the Stripe or Mohawk, depending on the film. Still waiting for that show on HBO Max. I think they're supposed to do a prequel or some kind of. I mean, the Mountain Dew commercials with Gizmo trying to drink Mountain Dew weren't enough for me. But
I'll watch it. Hey, yeah. Either way, Tomas is way tougher and a more of a man than I will ever be in my life. I mean, that props to him alone for getting on the roof of that goddamn house.
Well, that's what he's doing right now. Yeah. Okay. Heights a totally different thing.
Smack that roof.
Well, honestly, I'm more afraid of drowning. Like as a professional wrestler, like, all right, I might have to jump off something high. So
no, drowning 100% worst way to go. But man, that roof. I was having flashbacks of some roofs I was on top of in my younger days.
Yeah, it's no, it's when it's all 30-degree angles. Or should I say 100? They're all up. I mean, or should I say 160 degree? No, 100 and. Basically, no, you shouldn't be on this roof. No question there.
Yeah, that.
I guess by the end though, it kind of there's just seems segments that kind of get rushed, like the entire moments where the intensity is kind of lacking, and then I guess when the kid doesn't really come up with anything too devastating to stop our Santa Claus, like. When he comes out with the dark traps, like, oh, they only go into his neck. Like, okay,
yeah.
that's pretty painful, but Kevin McAllister would have made it a little more worthwhile. Granted, Harry and Marv are tougher than this Pere Noel, but
I kind of feel like this movie tries to not take itself too seriously. It almost seems like when it gets really serious, like it kind of something happens to take it back a couple notches.
Oh no, it doesn't want to cry. I mean, really, the only mistake this movie makes in terms of being something accessible is killing the dog.
Yeah,
I mean. Like, it does try to draw itself back. Like, okay, no, we're not actually going to use the makeshift claymore the kid created to shred up anybody.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's, there's a lot. Well, and now I'm seeing Palou, his friend, grab the Minitel printer, basically a fax, saying, hey, I'm kind of getting stalked by a killer Santa. And like, I guess like it's got a lot of, again, weird vibes. Like it's a lot of Shining-esque, honestly. This is like if we just skipped half of The Shining and just went to the chase.
Yeah, it moves.
Right. And so it's and then you see a lot of influence on that. Like it could have been shot on higher quality, but I think again that might take away from its charm. Um, I'm just used to seeing. I mean, I'm a big Italian horror fan, Argento primarily, but Fulci's got some good stuff. Never go wrong with a Bava film. It's just very weird because it's definitely like when you think French horror, I'm immediately drawn to High Tension, um, and the new wave French extreme. But again, that's 20 years from this point. Well, probably 15, but I mean, it tries to maintain having a heart, which is I think might hold it back because I think good satire basically says, "Hey, everything's screwed up." Like, again, if you're going to compare this to any Christmas movie, I think it's a closer fit to Gremlins than it is to Home Alone. But I guess my problem with the kid and his traps is like, okay, no, you're a genius. Like, okay, you're gonna shoot darts at this Santa. You didn't think about like maybe poisoning the darts, like little backdoor trip. You know, let's do what they did in Vietnam type stuff. I'm not, maybe it just tells you how flexible I am with my own body when I say, yeah, coat that with some shit. I don't know. I'm playing.
No, maybe he was just trying to ward him off then.
Well, no, it's a night.
Couple darts to the neck will make me go to the front door and like, oh, smack this house.
Yeah, no, you're right, and maybe I don't know. I'm not.
He really did kind of have a vibe at the beginning, though, where he would like cut off Santa's head and like hold it up, like I got him.
There's a movie I should suggest that
traumatized at the end.
Well, no, and it's kind of nice that he takes it back, I guess, to an extent. There's a movie that recently came out called Fat Man.
I almost brought this up to you, but I figured that it was like, no, Christmas has been over for a little while.
Right. Yeah, and you were sober.
Yeah, I did watch Batman over Christmas.
And it's a fun, I think it could have been a lot better, but it's a fun enough movie. Wallace Gromit's always, I think it's that's why I got my computer pulled out. It's nuts. Like, yeah, I'm broke as all hell. I'm doing all right now, but it's like, I don't know what my job's going to be like. And then it's, oh, but you know what? You really needs a second computer.
Dude, I'm pulling overtime to catch up from Christmas.
Yeah. Fat Man. Okay. Walton Goggins. I mean, that's just a great dynamic. It's kind of slow. I think they could have been a little with Fat Man. I think they could have been a little crueler. Like, all right, it's cool to see our American soldiers meet their end because they're kind of corrupting Christmas. But I wouldn't mind have seen a few dead elves. Let's go there.
I don't think we're really going to see a whole lot of things really pushing the envelope for a while, though, either.
Well, you took the chance of casting Mel Gibson. You might as well go for broke.
I feel the exact same way. Believe me. I had the exact same thought, but I mean, we're not going to get it. That was they probably shot that and it got cut.
Well, maybe. But it pretty much just went to the DVD, so it's not like... So
yeah, what doesn't anymore? I feel like since COVID, pretty much everything just kind of gets shoved out.
Well, I think they're a little more accepting of just releasing stuff to DVD. Like we'll find out how 2022 plays out because I don't think HBO Max wants to do like they're going to do exclusives. They're going to do Justice League, Zack Snyder's cut. I think they got another one coming out. Like, yeah, I can see, but I think a lot of it now is like, oh no, I can see why you're not going to release that. It's a weird time. It's kind of like
It really is.
it's like, I think it's great for streaming services that we can say, like, oh, well, that's a movie that you're going to let. Yeah, I can see why it's not going to make $10 million to cover its budget. So yeah, put it on streaming. I think it's probably better, actually, in a sense, that with the streaming services, like, I think a recent movie I've seen a lot of ads for is called Kimmy. I don't know what it is because I didn't stick around long enough for the trailer, but it just definitely seems like, yeah, that's an HBO Max exclusive. But
I don't
really,
know, that's kind of part of the problem too, though, because everything's just spread out now.
well, I mean,
Everything's premiering on different things, so you end up subscribing to all these different things, and you just have money just disappearing from your account from things that you're not using.
well, hey,
Because you got bored one day and wanted to watch a movie.
that's true, but it's a lot easier to just drop $15 on a streaming service than to what? Especially with you having children. When you go to the movies, if you're going to see anything with the kids, that's a $60 experience.
Yeah, it's not super cheap. I think it was like $30 last time. So Ghostbusters.
Yeah, did you see that in the afternoon or the evening?
Oh, I don't know. It was probably like the evening.
Okay, well, maybe.
It wasn't
I don't
as
know.
much as I thought it would be, but I
Well,
was just surprised that Dexter actually watched a movie.
oh, well, okay, let's just say this. When I go to a movie,
Worth it.
when I go to a movie, it's at least a $20 experience on my own. So,
Oh yeah,
I don't want to. I'm just trying to do simple math right then. Yeah, kids are cheaper, but so it's
I think it was like $30-$40.
okay. So not as bad as I would think. I mean, I had a cool girlfriend who would insist on always paying hey Allie, since she goes and just brings me movies for the podcast. She would always insist on paying her own way through movies and stuff, which is cool until recently, when she's finally got herself settled down with a real job and everything. It's like, and she's breaking out the quarters. I'd rather just pay for it than
Yeah, that's
make you well, and I'm feeling more for the attendance. Like,
no, it makes you look bad too, because I
don't think it.
used to feel the same way with my ex-wife. Like she would have this thing where, like, we would go get groceries, right? And I'd be standing right there, and she would just grab like all the bags and just like start walking away. Like, no, you're making me look like garbage right now. I realize you can do it, but
Well, no,
everybody is looking at me like I'm a giant pile of garbage right now.
Well,
just let me take like 5 bags.
No, there's a difference between stealing bags and she would at least go to the
Not
trouble.
stealing. We paid for them, but she would just insist on carrying everything.
Oh, okay.
Making me look like shit.
I'm not. I don't really worry about that. We did our shopping separate anyhow.
Oh, really? Because when she's paying with quarters, you don't feel everybody looking at you like you're a giant pile of garbage.
No, no. My problem
Pull
is
a 20 out, Russ. Why is she paying for quarters?
Well, no. My biggest problem is that I've pretty much, except for my brief, I've had some brief stints in call centers and banking. It's just basically, and gosh, if only I could actually tell the stories about coin experiences at the bank, but no. No, it's more for me that it's like, no, I know what it's like. I don't really care what other people think. It's more about, I know what that guy on the other side of the counter is going through. Like, no, don't pay in quarters. Like, I will figure a way to equal everything out. Use your debit card, whatever. It's just like, No, I'm not.
All right,
That
as a cashier who's been on the other side, I have definitely looked at a guy like you and thought, "What? What a pile of smack garbage! Why didn't he just smack and just drop a five or some
Oh
kind?
no,
Those
it's not like
together.
I immediately stop her from
I'm looking
doing
at
it.
you the whole time.
I immediately stop her from doing it, but I'm just saying it's kind of like, look, I mean, I'm feeling more for their time. It's not about my time. It's not about embarrassing myself or anything like that. It's like, no, we want to get to point B as
Yeah,
fast as
you're
we
embarrassing
possible.
us. You're making us look bad, lady. Knock it off.
Oh, I wouldn't even go that far with her. It's just like, oh, you could have just told me that that's what you're gonna do. I will take care of it. And I felt, and then, you know, long story short, I think it all evens out. And, but you know, it just now we're just getting on tangents, honestly. So we got our
You're a nicer guy than I am.
yeah, that's what I don't know. My best friend, before she was ever my best friend, basically said to me, "Thank you, you're a gentleman and a scoundrel." And it's like, yeah, I can dig that.
How are you supposed to take that? You can't be both.
Oh no, it's like for me, I always joked at the bank, and who knows, that may have ended up I digress. Like I'm not I like, well, why did they do this? And it's like, okay, we're talking about murder porn here. That was a popular thing. You know,
Oh, wait a minute. That's a joke.
investigation
I thought you were
discover.
going to say like you embezzled a little bit from the bank or something.
No, believe me, like as I say, I'm trying to be as coy as I can until I collect, and then I'll let loose. But I don't know. I unfriended the manager, so she shouldn't even be aware. Um, no, it's no. What got but it's like I would say when people are talking about their murder porn, their investigation discovery, or
Yeah.
stuff, and I'm like, well, why didn't you do that? How could you even think that? I am not. I don't have any intention of doing anything disgusting or evil, but I can appreciate the art. It's like armchair quarterbacking. You're like, well, I would have definitely written up that play differently. So now I'm to the point where, let's see, he's just buried his dog. He's coming up with all these traps, like the gasoline trap. It's kind of disappointing. Like, no, that should have set Santa up. But I guess maybe the kid still has some morality. But by the time you buried your dog, no, I'm killing you. Like, it's gone too far.
Yeah, all bets are off.
Yeah. And this is a guy who really relates to the end of the first Lethal Weapon, where, and I told my wrestling promoter, about my trainer Danny Daniels, about that when we were talking about a match between Heidi Lovelace and who's now Ruby Soho, and oh shoot, this might a wrestler called Matt
Ruby
Cage.
Soho before she was Ruby Soho?
Yeah, I may have shaken her hand. I can't really say I ever had a conversation with her.
Well,
but yeah, no, the promotion I worked with, that was the base for me, was All American Wrestling, which just became AAW, kind of like how WWE doesn't actually stand for World Wrestling Entertainment. It's just 3 letters. No, so Danny Daniels, like, he recently had Ruby Soho face Josh Alexander at their last show.
right on. No,
Yeah.
That's cool. She's somebody I always thought never really got her due. That I always liked her a lot.
Yeah. Oh no, she's definitely a cool girl. Cool woman. But she had a match. Like, the first time I ever saw her was an intergender match for the AAW Heritage Championship against a wrestler called Matt Cage, who's a really cool dude. And what happened, like this match though, it was like a brutal. She was getting beat the snot out of. Like I didn't expect that, and then it's like Danny was telling me, so what'd you think? Well, I mean, for the third time they were interacting, the third time they're wrestling, and he said no, they're only wrestling one other time. Well, she said third time, so I digress about the promo she cut. For that interaction, like I was kind of hoping for the end of Lethal Weapon where Mel Gibson's about to kill, has to hold himself back from killing Gary Busey. I wanted that kind of extreme. So, and of course, Mel Gibson doesn't kill Gary Busey. Then Gary Busey tries grabbing a gun, and then they just shoot the hell out of him. Like, I'm a fan of this. I'm a fan of the no, don't kill him because you're better than him. Kill him because like they asked for it. Oh, now we're to the point in the movie where he is making the actual grenade with marble.
You never seen Lethal Weapon, Dexter? Sorry, Dexter decided he didn't want to go to bed. You never seen Lethal Weapon?
No. Hey, if you get past the opening scene with the naked woman,
that's one of my favorite fights.
Jump at naked woman.
All the cops just crowd around.
Oh yeah,
Gary Busey.
Yep. No,
just watch him fight.
That was the first R-rated movie my mom just said, "Yeah, you could watch that. It's on cable." It's like, you realize they're watching the.
Dude, I love Lethal Weapon.
They're watching the sex tape. Like, no, it's fine. Like, I'm 13, 14. I've never really gotten to see boobs like that. Damn. No, it's it's one of my favorite fight scenes. I guess it kind of explains the character of Thomas that he doesn't want to go all out, but then again, when you create that grenade, which doesn't work out.
If I remember right, like the whole thing was like they were both Green Berets, and they both just kind of wanted to see who had the.
Oh yeah, in the end of Lethal Weapon, yes, it's basically who's the the best special forces guy.
Yeah, who's the man?
Yeah. You want a shot? You want a shot at the champ?
That's why 80s action flicks were the best.
Yeah, I'm doing a little.
It just came down to who had the biggest dick.
Yeah, well, I'm doing a little research again with flexing, bending the 90 for chill rules, but I'll announce it when I'm ready. But there is a chance there's going to be a very 80s podcast. I don't want to give too many details. It'll be mentioned probably in the opening of the research I've been doing. Let's just say Erica Eleniak, if you remember her.
I'm gonna try to show the boys some of the martial arts movies I watched growing up, like The Last Dragon.
I've never actually sat through Best of the Best.
You've never seen The Majesty of Bruce Leroy?
No, I haven't watched. No, I'll acknowledge I had not watched The Last Dragon. I've seen The Miami Connection. If you want a laugh a minute movie,
I have not seen that.
Oh, yeah, no, it's a really screwed up movie. I've really only watched it with the guys from MST3K commentating over it. They do a show called Riff Tracks, which I highly suggest. Not a show. So the guys from Mystery Science Theater 3000 say the Comedy Central sci-fi period. They still do what they always did. They just do it for like, you can go and buy what they call Riff Tracks for far more significant movies. So like I have Riff Tracks for like all of the Star Wars prequels, which is just basically them making jokes. I got one which is Weird Al. Jurassic Park is Weird Al Yankovic and Mike Nelson from Mystery Science Theater 3000 making jokes throughout it. Truth be told, I've never actually listened to all these Riff Tracks I've bought. I mean, I've bought one for Face Off. I've bought one. I mean, but I do go to all their live shows when they do them at movie theaters. Like most recent one I saw was Amityville 4.
I have to remember that. They pop up on my Amazon a lot.
Oh yeah,
My
yeah,
girlfriend really likes watching it at Mystery Science Theater 3000.
yeah. There's a Chuck Norris movie that might pop up called Code of Silence, where they do it, where Chuck Norris's sidekick is Flounder from Animal House.
Really, I haven't watched early Chuck Norris since I was a kid.
Oh no, Chuck Norris got old pretty fast, in my opinion. It was, you just knew it was half-ass stuff. Like Jean-Claude Van Damme until the 90s, it was pretty half-ass stuff. Like Bloodsport, undisputed classic. We already covered that. But Lionheart's kind of, I don't know. I still shed a tear when I'm watching the end of Lionheart. But
I don't know. People love Lionheart. I don't hate it. Just I don't know. I don't love it as much as everyone else.
Oh no, it's not. It's one of the worst made of Jean-Claude Van Damme movies. I will acknowledge that. Never mind. You got Brian Thompson, or I think it's Brian Thompson. Yeah, as
His
like
manager.
No. Brian Thompson was like the big bodyguard for the
That guy. Yeah.
for the female antagonist.
Yeah.
This is the guy who ended up being Shao Kahn in Mortal Kombat Annihilation, which is a movie we're never going to cover on this. But his best known is probably as the bad guy in Cobra with Sylvester Stallone. Which
so for me as his manager, I love the manager in Lionheart so much.
Oh yeah, no, that's a great character. And it was another movie where Jean-Claude Van Damme was like I don't know, he got to his power. I think that's the problem with Van Damme, is he got to his peak of his powers real fast.
Well, yeah, it was all that blow. It took its toll.
Well, no, what I'm saying is that, like, okay, really? We're going to put Jean-Claude Van Damme, like, Kickboxer is good, but it's not Bloodsport. Like,
oh no, I would take Kickboxer over Bloodsport.
Oh, okay, that's a hot take. Like I thought Bloodsport was a little too dark. I love the remakes, the reinvention. I would definitely recommend Bloodsport. Not Bloodsport. I'm sorry, Kickboxer. Oh shoot, what are they called? Okay, no, I'm already on IMDb. I think it was Kickboxer Retaliation. Kickboxer. Have you seen Kickboxer 5 with Mark Dacascos?
Not recently.
Oh, okay. Well, it wasn't really even part of the franchise, honestly. I think they just threw the Kickboxer title on it. Mark Dacascos, he's best known as he's probably going to be best known as the chairman in Iron Chef America. I can't recall. Like, it's not. Come on, show me. I'm doing the search. Kickboxer Vengeance. Jean-Claude Van Damme basically plays the mentor role in that one instead of the fighter. Dave Bautista is the final. It plays Tong Po. You got
plays Tong Po.
Yes,
I didn't know that.
Kickboxer Vengeance, 2016. Yeah, Dave Bautista plays Tong Po. Jean-Claude Van Damme is the guy who's training the lead character to fight him. They did a sequel where it was where Christopher Lambert is your overall villain. He's the evil promoter, and his fighter is the Mountain from Game of Thrones.
Yes, I believe my old co-host Seth Bates from Van Damme It that you can find on my broken laptop. That he left it in a landfill somewhere. We went over this.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
No.
he watched all of those movies, man. He loves those kickboxer movies.
Well, Kickboxer Retaliation even has has a bunch of MMA guys. Mike Tyson is a mentor in that one. Like Jean-Claude Van Damme is blind in the movie. It's like, yeah, the new Kickboxers. I really want their third movie. I think it was supposed to be Kickboxer Apocalypse, but it hasn't come out. I don't know if it ever will. All right.
I saw a trailer for a new Bloodsport. Is that real? I feel like that's almost has to be real.
I don't know. I haven't really followed the Bloodsport stuff. I didn't really watch too many of the sequels. Which I should give a little more time for, because I know one of them, the Dark Kumite, I think it was.
Well, it looked like it was going to be like how they did the Rockies.
Yeah.
In the last couple of years. It looked like that because it had all the original cast and whatnot.
Huh. That's weird. So Bloodsport.
Did you not see that? It somehow popped up on my YouTube.
No. I don't know. Like I got Bloodsport 2 with Daniel Bernhardt, I should say, who's actually like, he shows up in a lot of these action movies now as like a heavy henchman. He was in John Wick as the guy who almost killed him with a bag over his head. He was in Atomic Blonde with Charlize Theron. So I've only really think I've seen 2 of the Bloodsports sequels, and I can't say I watched them from the beginning to the end. I know Bloodsport 2 is Daniel Bernhardt and Pat Morita. And Bloodsport 3, I think they kill Pat Morita. But you have John Rhys Davies, the guy who played, he's going to probably be best known as Gimli the Dwarf from Lord of the Rings. Great character actor. So yeah, but we're really straying off topic, I guess. So so let's just try to jump back in. So I'm at the point where Thomas has the gun on Santa Claus, doesn't want to shoot him. So but it's like, I don't know if there's really like, it's a Deadly Games. I mean, it's worth, I think, again, if you like Christmas movies, I mean, if you want something twisted, this is definitely, like, I guess that's the biggest problem with the movie, at least when it comes to our shores, is it's twisted. And I don't think we got the mainstream has a lot of patience for just straight up twisted. Like we'll take M. Night Shyamalan's bullshit any day of the week, but it's a twist. We're fine with twist. We want twist, but we don't want the idea of the feature to be like, how are you so screwed up that you wanted a showdown between a 10-year-old and a psychotic Santa Claus?
I mean, in a sense, we got it in Home Alone, but it was just pitched differently.
Well, it's like
comparison. I don't get it. I just get Home Alone with it.
You see, I'm not like, I understand where people think Home Alone is, but it's like, all right, but let's look at home invasion movies where somebody fights back. So we're talking, Ready or Not's not really a home invasion movie, but she has to get clever. And I can't wait to talk about the twist in Ready or Not, which I don't think is a twist, honestly, because they establish it just before the third act.
Yeah.
You should have caught it at the end of the second act, though, when she's in the barn and, why are there so many goats? But home invasion movies where you're creating traps, which is your next, like, love how your next ends. Like, especially for somebody with a bleeding heart who's, may have said stuff like defund certain things, but I digress. No, I mean, I just find this more as like, as I say, this is Home Alone with stakes, because there's no emotional value to what Kevin McAllister does in Home Alone. It's actually straight up sadism. Um, our Thomas is a far better person than Kevin McAllister. Thomas actually has a threat he's trying to deal with, a lot of growing up to do all of a sudden, while Kevin McAllister, I got a bunch of idiots who were fooled by a freaking VHS tape of a movie from the 1940s. I'm going to screw these guys up. There's no sense of cruelty in Thomas. While the sheer fact that, okay, Kevin McAllister sets up all these traps. All right, once they're in the house, get the hell out of the house. No, Kevin McAllister sits and watches his Tom and Jerry bullshit.
Yeah.
Like, it just totally
recognizes the danger of someone breaking into your house.
Yeah, no, it's not like I have, like, this is kind of stuff, like, it's not like I haven't dreamt or thought of the day where, it's going to be that final showdown with that ultimate bully and some bollocks like that. And am I going to do the hero thing? Like, when I have their head grasped, like blood sport, say it, say it, expecting the same Mate, or I'm going to break their neck. Like, I'm not going to do the wrong thing and break the neck. Like, it's not like I haven't dreamt of that stuff and making the right decisions, but no, that's I guess, I think this movie is the ultimate counterpoint to Home Alone. Like, if you show your kids Home Alone, you should be ready to show your kid Deadly Games, just to set them straight and narrow. I mean, that might be an extreme stance. I don't know.
Just something to shoot for. Look what this kid can do at 10.
Well, no, I'm not saying that. Like, be a genius and use your intelligence to defend the house. No, I mean, this kid Thomas is going through he's got to protect his grandfather. He actually has to take on an evil. Harry and Marv are not evil. They're just stupid. And Kevin McAllister's just a bully for sitting around and actually watching his mayhem ensue. Like, no, get that.
Is also deeply traumatized after his
yes, no, like, yeah, this is reality. I don't know, like, it's a tough ask, I guess, to tell a child, yeah, no, this is what really happens. But I don't know. I guess
you ever hear about the deleted subplot to Home Alone, where the uncle was in on it the entire time?
No, I didn't hear about that one. I'm more familiar with everybody saying that. How the hell did the McAllisters do that? I think Kevin's dad was in the mob, the Irish mob.
I've heard that one too. That he was in the CIA. That's what I heard.
I've always, like, it's more jokingly that they said Irish mob, but like, yeah, no, nobody should really, like, have this kind of layout. I don't know. It's a really tough thing. It's like, honestly, like, if your kid acts up after seeing Home Alone, show them this movie. That'll straighten them out.
Yeah, or get them put on a watch list.
Well, I think that would put you on the watch list as the parent, because until they have a credit card, they can't get Shudder on their own.
Yeah, that's true.
So, all right. So, no, this is as I say, I would highly recommend. Like, I'm not saying it's a perfect movie by any They don't do it well. I should scratch it. Like, the story is kind of wonky at points, but everything that's put on film is done. I mean, chef's kiss, magnifique.
I think it's a perfect movie about a child trying to protect his butthole.
I'm gonna think more of the grandfather. I mean, I agree that Michael Jackson is more than likely a child molester, but I this is like the concept where I guess it's the argument that no, Michael Jackson was okay. He just wanted to be a child. I can see so, but I think if anything, this movie needed. It's a shame this movie was not shown until 2014, 15 years after it was released to a wide audience. Because we could have learned so much more. And I mean, this is the ultimate stranger danger film. There we go. I think that's it. Like yeah.
And early internet film.
Oh, well, as I say, in 1994.
Don't invite strangers to your house over the internet.
Yeah, well, but this is 1994. I don't think. I mean, yeah, maybe it was a big deal in France. It was a big deal in France.
It was ahead of its time.
Yeah. So, yeah, it's a definite recommend. Regardless, I think it's definitely the twisted kind of stuff. No, I'd like to say twisted kind of stuff. No, it's just like I think this is kind of reality to an extent. Like, I wish it was this twisted, but no, there's plenty of sick mother lovers out there. And I wish they were just mother lovers. We gotta.
Yeah.
So
if they're willing to dress up like Santa, look into them.
Yes. Yeah. So
at least look into them.
Yeah.
I got a comic book collection. I'm telling you, look into me. Like, you're not gonna find anything. I'm just saying you should. He has a comic book collection. Look into him. Look into us. Look into all of us. Look into him.
No, then you get fired from your bank job when they actually look.
Yeah, that's smacked up, dude. I am sorry that happened. Dude.
Yeah, well, all I can say is I never mentioned the bank. I never mentioned any names. So, but as I say,
damn you for having a podcast and working at a bank.
Well, it wasn't the podcast; it was the blog. Oh, believe me, if they heard the podcast, oh gosh. So, all right. So, Gregory, anything you want to plug before we get out of here?
No.
Okay. All right. Well, you can, if you want to find him, just search Gregory Carl. It's spelled the same way it sounds on Facebook. You can find me on Twitter at CatBusRuss. That's at CatBusRuss. My email address, if you want to be on the show, of course, you could use the Twitter account, whatever, is russthebus07 at gmail.com. That's RUSSTHEBUS07 at gmail.com. Just offer me a theme, a movie, a director, an actor. As long as we focus on sub 100-minute material, if you want to do the extra work and watch a movie and say, no, nothing happens at the end of the credits, you don't, so it should qualify. I'll be happy to hear from you. So otherwise, rate and subscribe on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. I prefer just the 5-star reviews. If you want to talk trash about the podcast, do that on my Twitter account. I can handle it. I mean, I've looking through old tweets like, yeah, no, those gun loving buttheads are no, I don't regret that statement at all. But I can take it. So thank you very much, Gregory, for coming back on the show. As I say, there's a lot of stuff I'm looking into. If anything that inspires you to listen to the next episode, listen to this episode. And again, thanks for all the help.
Oh yeah, no problem. I've watched a lot of weird stuff over Christmas break. Kind of jogged my memory on a few things.
All
so
right.
I might hit you up on a few other.
Hey, I'm not gonna definitely appreciate the help with it, man. So thanks for being so loyal to the cause. Thanks to Stacia Hardin for being my inspiration, and hopefully I'm still doing you proud. And have yourselves a good night.
Can I hear a wahoo?